Happy Friday, dear friends. How do you know if you are a success in life? So Avraham Avinu, Abraham, the forefather of the Jewish nation, he was known as the paradigm of chesed, of loving kindness. Now I want to ask you, what did Avraham Avinu do that was so kind? Let me give you 3 examples. Example number 1, at the beginning of this week's Parshat Vayeira, Avraham goes and he sees these 3 people who appear to him as Arabs. Avraham is 99 years old, fresh off of his circumcision, in terrible pain. But he sees these 3 men and he runs after them and says, "Please come to my house. I want to give you food and drink." And he does. Turns out though, Avraham is giving food and drink to angels. Story number 2. God comes to Avraham and says, Abraham, there's this nation, there's this area called Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm going to destroy them. What do you say? And Avraham davens and he prays and he says, "God, if there are 50 righteous people, will you destroy them?" And God says, "No, there aren't 50 people." "God, what if there's 45, 40, 35? Long story short, there's no righteous people worthy of being saved except Avraham's nephew. But Avraham fails in trying to save Sodom with his prayers. And finally, Avraham, we are told, had thousands of people, thousands of students who he worked tirelessly along with his wife Sarah to try to bring closer to monotheism. And he was successful. But then when you see in his son Yitzchak's life, they're gone, they've disappeared. All of his students are no longer part of his family. So let me ask you, is Avraham really the paradigm of chesed, of loving kindness? If you look at all of these stories, Avraham thinks that he's feeding angels. Absolutely not. There is not 1 ounce of pleasure that those angels, those people that he's giving the food to, are getting. Avraham is praying, he's davening for Sodom. He really wants God to save Sodom, and God does not. Avraham really wants these people to believe in one God, to believe in Hashem, and what happens? Eventually, he's unsuccessful. You know, I think in our results-driven culture, we often judge our success and the success of other people on their results. What ended up happening? Did I do well on that test? Did I get into that college? Did I get the promotion in that job? Did my kindnesses have any effect, have the desired effect that I wanted? But in this week's Parsha, we are introduced to Avraham's chesed. And Avraham's kindness is not based on what happens. Avraham's chesed is not based on the results of what he does. Avraham's chesed is based, he becomes the paradigmatic example of somebody who's kind, not because of what he does, but because of who he is. And that, my friends, is our goal in life, to become people of loving kindness, whether or not the people who receive our kindness, whether it's well received, whether we make a huge impact on the world, whether or not we change the world. It's whether our goal in life is to change ourselves. What happens, the results are all up to God. But our job is to sit there and see a need and put our prayers forth and put our mesirat nefesh, our sacrifice, to try to go and do kindness for other people, to try to bring people closer, to do whatever we can to help people in the way that they need, whether or not we are successful. Results are not what matters. What matters is who we become, and that is the ultimate judge of whether or not we are successful people. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for listening to the Masorah Minute.